Tracking our training is one of the best things we can do to make sure that we are reaching our health and fitness goals, whether we are training to compete in a race or just training for that centenarian decathlon way in the future. Hey there, it's Mark, and we are back with another video. And this one is all about tracking and planning your training. Why we would want to track our training, what are the advantages of tracking and planning our training, and what are some tools that we can use to track and plan our training. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, when it comes to working out, exercising, maintaining our health and fitness, or for competition, one of the best things we can do to improve our odds of success, increase our strength and endurance and everything associated with getting better, one of the best things we can do is to track our training and also plan our training, what it will look like down the road. Now, by tracking and planning our training, it gives us the information we need to stay on top of what we're doing, potentially realize some trends that may be shaping up for better or for worse, and be able to get ahead of that to make sure that we aren't doing too much, and also to make sure that we are doing enough to put us in the best position to reach our goals, whether that is, like I said, just general health and fitness, or perhaps competing in some kind of competition like a race, triathlon, a run, anything like that. Now, when it comes to tracking training and planning for your training, there's all kinds of ways of doing that. For a long time, I tracked my training with just a pad of paper, a notebook, and a pen. That's all I needed to write down what I was doing on a daily or weekly basis. Now, in the last 10 or 15 years, especially in the last 5 years, it seems like there are a wealth of tools available to us as health and fitness enthusiasts who are interested in learning more about what we're doing and planning our training in the future. Lots of apps and software, both online and on our computer, that can help us become more in touch with what we are doing when it comes to training. Now, I've been a runner, cyclist, endurance athlete for over 40 years. And back in the day, some of you may remember this thing that was called the Runner's World Training Diary. It was a spiral-bound book that had, just a daily journal where you could record your miles and notes and anything related to that run you did that day. And I think it had some summary charts where you could total up the miles each month and do all that. I used that for a number of years, especially high school, college, and right after college. I got away from that and just kind of did my own thing, not really paying attention to my training. But really about 4 years ago, I really got back into tracking and planning my training. And I noticed a couple of immediate benefits of doing that. The first major benefit was that I was more intentional about what I was doing. By tracking what I was doing on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, it kind of forced me to pay more attention to the type of workouts I was doing. And that kind of pushed me in the direction of planning a little bit longer and farther ahead, because once you have that data and you're able to see what you've done over time, it makes it easier to decide what you want to do in the future. So that's the first benefit I got out of tracking my training, was just that general knowledge of what I've done in the past and what I'm doing now, and then extend that into the future by saying, what do I want to do next month or next year? The second major advantage I found by tracking and planning my training is it gives me a little bit more structure to my everyday routine. It allows me to make sure that I am doing what I need to be doing in all areas, not just zone 2 aerobic endurance, but also strength, also mobility, all those other things. I'm able to track that and pay attention to what I'm doing and set goals for the future in each of those areas. And I think if you start tracking and planning your training, you will probably find a similar result. it's really one of the best ways to really kind of internalize what you're doing on a daily basis, become much more in tune with what's going on. Not just how you feel, but being able to look and say, what did I do? What did I do last week? What did I do last month? How did that trend compare to last year, or what I want to do in the future? So it's a great way to make sure that you are moving in a positive direction and not slipping backwards. The other major benefit that I found is it has helped me to potentially identify problems that might be coming up in the future, specifically related to overtraining or going too hard too fast or adding too much volume too quickly. Without tracking your training, it's very hard to know exactly what you did last week, and maybe you'd been doing very hard workouts for the last 3 weeks and you're still pushing, when the reality is your body needs a break. So tracking your training allows you to notice those trends, be honest with yourself on what has happened in the past, so you can plan appropriately for what you want to happen in the future. So how do you track and plan your training? Like I said, you've got all kinds of tools available, but what I've settled on over the last few years is 3 different tools, 3 different apps. They're all free, and I've set them up in such a way that they kind of work together. So I'm able to transfer my training on a daily basis to more of a centralized location where I'm able to do the overall planning and then design what I want to be doing in the future based on what I've done in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick review of these 3 apps. I'll put links to them down in the description, so you feel free to check them out. They are all free. Now some of them, they all have a paid option, but everything that I'm going to be talking about here can be done absolutely for free with no out-of-pocket cost to you. So let's go ahead and dive right into those. Okay, there are, like I said, 3 primary tools, so let's go ahead and take a look at them. The first tool, and this is the central repository for almost all of my training, is an app called Final Surge. So here we are in the main screen once you log into Final Surge, and you will see that it's set up as a calendar, a training calendar that you can plan and track your training over time. And it is set up with a week at a time. And I start my week on Monday through Sunday, and you will see that I've got a listing of this previous week. I'm recording this on September 12th, so you will see the previous week, September 5th through September 11th. You'll see all the different activities that I have done over that last week. And it summarizes those activities here on the far right, over here on the right side, by time. You've got, in the light gray is your planned time, and then dark bold is the total time. So way down at the bottom here, you will see 9:22 was my total time for this last week, total activity, broken down by different types of activities. Walk, 3 hours and 26 minutes, running, 3 hours and 25, indoor cycling, 45 minutes, strength training, 1 hour 30. I got the symbol there for the weights. So I'm able to summarize and see what I've done each week. The nice thing about Final Surge is you can import your activities into Final Surge after they've taken place. So if you use a watch like a Garmin or a Polar or a Coros, you can set up and have the activities flow into Final Surge through an intermediary app. And that app that I use is Strava. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But once the activities get into Final Surge, then you are able to see all the details for a particular activity. Let's go ahead and click on my long run from a few days ago. And you will see moving time, elapsed time, metrics, everything related to it over here. And that's getting pulled in from the watch through Strava. So I'm able to see details for each of my activities. Okay, and then it allows me to plan out future activities. So here we are today, September 12th, the day that I am recording this video. You will see that I've done 2 activities today. I did a walk this morning, and I've also done strength training, which in this case was bench and pull-ups. I've also got some activities planned for the rest of the week. I've got following my general guidelines of what I try to do each week is 3 to 5 zone 2 days, 2 to 3 strength training days at a minimum, and then try to get at least a couple of hours total zone 2 within that context. Now I am in the process of starting to ramp up my base and start training to be able to run some races again going into 2023 after taking a few months off earlier due to injury. So I'm building back my base. So if I want to take a look at this coming week, I've already laid out some of my initial runs. You'll see, like here on September 13th, you'll see this little blue thing here. What that is that it allows me to actually push the run to my Garmin watch. So I can design a workout in Final Surge and push it directly to my watch, and then pull that workout out on my watch, which will have the time and the related metrics that I want to track. In this case, heart rate. I'm trying to do zone 2 work. So very easy way to do that. You can add workouts and activities directly into the Final Surge app. If I wanted to add an additional run here in September 13th, you can add a planned workout, call it whatever we want to do, run 2, plan time or distance. So very easy to do either way. Let's just say I want to do a 10-minute run, and there we go. And I select the activity. It's a run, nothing different about that. And then I can add the workout, or I can go into the detailed setup and customize that workout based off of what type of metrics I want to do, pace, power, or heart rate. In this case, I want to track by heart rate. So now you can custom design your workout within Final Surge. So I can build a warm-up, I can do repeats, I could do a cool down, any combination of these, or add additional. Very, very, very flexible. All right. And when you sign up for Final Surge, like I said, it's completely free. They do have a number of tutorials that you will see once you log in, how to set up plans, how to design workouts, all of that. So very, very helpful. Okay, that's the first tool, Final Surge. And that's where all my activities flow into, and what I do to plan activities that I want to do in the future. Now, how do I get that there? Well, I use Strava. Strava is an online, primarily running and riding aggregation tool and social media network, but you can put in just about any type of exercise activity. So you can sign up for Strava, absolutely free, no cost to do that. And with that, you get access to some of the base features, training calendar, let's go here and take a look at that, and a listing of all your runs and activities there. So if I go to that same run, I called it the Mitochondria Builder, and you will see that there are all the details for that run. And that will flow into Final Surge from Strava. My watch uploads to Strava. Strava downloads into Final Surge, or Final Surge pulls from Strava. So very easy way to organize the workouts and have them sync directly. So that takes care of the base planning the workouts within Final Surge. Strava is kind of the link from the watch to Final Surge. Now, what about for my strength training? I can log the activity in Final Surge or in Strava, which is great, but how do I plan that out? Now, for strength training, I found a tool called Strength Level. So it's a free, once again, free registration that allows you to set up a profile, and then you can track workouts. So you can add a workout. You will see what I did here today. September 12th, I did some bench press and a listing of all the workouts. So this allows you to plan and design workouts on a daily basis, depending on the type of exercises, sets and reps and weights. Very handy tool. There's lots of other tools for strength training as well as tracking cycling and running, but these are just 3 that I found, and they seem to work pretty well together. Like I said, once again, down in the description will be links. But the most important thing to do is to get in the habit of finding a system that works for you to track and plan your training. I think you will find that that will help you improve faster, not overtrain, and possibly prevent injuries, keeping you from missing out on doing the workouts that you want to do. If you like what you're seeing and you want to be part of the community, go ahead and click that subscribe button down there. And while you're at it, give the old like button, give that thumbs up, a gentle nudge, and help YouTube get out and let more people know about what we are doing here on the channel. That really does help the channel. Click the bell for notifications to be notified when I do post new content. And if you're interested in learning what I typically do in a week, check out this video over here where I have a summary of a recent week of training. And leave a comment letting me know, do you track your training? I'd be interested to hear what you all are doing. That's it for now. Until next time, take care and be well.